Welcome in to the Spence and Serg Show. We are here live and we are here following a very interesting NFL divisional round. It is wonderful to be back with everybody today. I'm Spence and he's Serg. And we're going to start off by talking about one of the more, I guess, interesting outcomes of NFL history, and that was Broncos-Bills in Denver. The Broncos survived the Buffalo Bills 33-30. What did you think about this contest?
Oh, man. I mean, me and you, I think we both had this as like our game of the weekend, pretty much.
Yes.
And I think it lived up to the hype. Controversial ending to that game. If you guys saw my emergency presser, it was just live right there, raw in the moment, kind of in disbelief. I don't know. How'd you feel about that end of the call?
The Brandon Cooks one?
Yeah, the Brandon Cooks and McMillan.
I thought that was actually an appropriate interception.
I did too. Unfortunately, it was sad.
Unfortunately, why? You were rooting for the Bills?
Well, if you remember, not just for the sake of my picks on this show, but also like if it's going to be Josh Allen's year,
if it's going to be his year,
all the hysteria for Josh Allen. Got the basically the gifted MVP last year for those people that have that narrative about him. But yeah, if it was going to be now, no Mahomes, no Lamar, no Burrow, the monkey's off his back. He doesn't have anybody that he's proven he can't beat before going up against him in this playoffs. So, I mean, if not now, when,
Right. I mean, I kind of liked, well, first of all, I liked Bo Nix ever since Auburn and Oregon, so I was rooting for actually Denver in this contest. Now, Buffalo has had a lot of success in the playoffs, but they just haven't won the big game. It's kind of weird, like even with the Chicago Cubs, like I kind of like seeing these teams that have the curse. I like the curse continuing. Because next year with Buffalo, it's gonna... Don't you kind of like it a little bit to see Josh keep trying to reach the top and then just always getting beat?
For the narrative chaser in me, yeah, actually,
the narrative chaser. Almost like Peyton Manning. Yeah.
Yeah, like can't get the monkey off his back type thing. Like, yeah, for that aspect
that monkey
of it,
keeps tightening and tightening.
Yeah, Josh just can't, for whatever reason, man. And... save it, all of you armchair quarterbacks, all of you Dan Orlovskis, even my hometown hero, LaShawn McCoy. Like, I don't want to hear the excuses for Josh Allen. First off, listen to his stat line. 320 yards, gaudy numbers, like in terms of his production, 3 touchdowns, but you have 2 interceptions, 2 fumbles, pause, full stop. You find me a single human being that you tell before a game your quarterback will have 4 turnovers, and you tell me if you like your team winning that game. You don't deserve to win that game. Despite you making and getting yourself, we got to also give credit for the second half comeback.
Yes.
But is that inefficiency, inability by the Broncos playing it safe? There's so many factors.
That's losing football there
I agree.
From Josh Allen.
Yes.
At the end of the half, there's 10 seconds left, and you hold the ball out like a loaf of bread, or you hold the ball out like you're handing somebody a piece of cantaloupe at a fair.
Yeah, it's like, and
to
that's...
use that analogy that's quite used a lot. I just came up with that.
You're
the Broncos then fumble. Will Lutz makes a field goal. It's because the Broncos are anemic on offense that the Bills even had a chance to win. But guess what great teams do that have great culture? The Bills are up by, what are they up by, 4? They are. They're up by 4. You have Bo Nix who can't hit anything. And guess what? You allow him to hit Marvin Mims and hit a game-winning touchdown on Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, and also in that game, there was a lot of important drops by Cortland Sutton. But he was...
Denver played poorly. And by the way, on that final drive before the Cooks interception or not, did you see there was a blatant hold in the end zone? That could have been a save.
Could have been the game.
Yeah.
Could have been the game right there.
The real winner of the game was the Broncos punter punting it to the 6-yard line, which was an absolutely massive play.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer of ball don't lie, and you got to earn it to get that call.
BDL.
If Cooks catches that ball and they're both wrestling it, different story here. But the ball came out, it hit the ground, call was right on the field.
That's a low percentage play.
Exactly.
Percentage. And could have run the football in overtime.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And let's not forget, Josh, you underthrew that ball, brother. That ball, needed to be out in front of your 4-4, 4-3 wide receiver. There's no reason Jalen McMillan should have even had a play on that ball.
The Bills are the better team in the game because the Broncos turned it over, the Bills turned it over 4 times, and you're still tied with that ball club.
Yeah, like
and Josh Allen, didn't he have a throw right before regulation ended? Dawson Knox, corner route, misses it.
Missed them.
Misses it.
He had multiple
He's too
misses.
up and down to win these big games.
Yeah.
That's the point about Josh Allen. Like, the quarterback here, Jalen Hurts, you know why every Eagles game is not a blowout? It's because he protects the football. It might not be the sexy thing to do.
Exactly. Like,
You know?
I'm all for, like, the big arm, Josh Allen, all that stuff.
The gunslinger.
In shorts, I'll take you for my 7-on-7. I mean, I actually don't even know if I'll ever take you to, like, compete with me. But I'll take you the way, if I'm looking for somebody to just throw a ball in shorts, great. You're my guy. But if I got game on the line here, right, there's a handful of all-time quarterbacks that you're not even
That you would take.
You wouldn't even be in my first, like, 30th afterthought.
Even in the league right now, like,
I'm taking Bo Nix.
You might take Bo Nix. Yeah, Bo Nix dropped it beautifully to Marvin Mims. He played under control. Now, listen, he was also anemic in parts in the second half. They were batting down the football. And Josh Allen, the tush-push, like, that he incorporates, he isn't working with great receivers. He played okay. But I'm tired of, I'm tired of people feeling sorry for Josh Allen.
I'm tired of it.
Because he never takes control of games.
Look, first off, again, if you just go off of the turnover battle, you lost the turnover battle, you don't deserve to win those games. Coaches say it's tough to win games when you lose the turnover battle. Then second, Josh, that fumble at the end of the half wasn't just an all-time bad, like, backwards fumble. It was a 10-point fumble. You go from possibly getting 7, best case scenario, 3, worst case scenario, to them getting 3.
Getting 3.
That's a 10-point swing.
I'm going to say it's a 6-point.
All right, 6, worst case scenario. Worst.
Because I don't think the Bills are doing anything.
Maybe not.
That's why it's a bad play call, too.
Maybe not.
That's why McDermott should
Based on where they were on the field, yeah, you never know. But, like, at the end of the game, if Cooks catches that ball, like, Josh Allen's always good for, like, one long ball. Maybe it's a PI. Maybe it's this. Like, you just don't know when there's time on the clock. You eliminated that option by fumbling the ball. You don't even have that opportunity to get best case scenario.
Why is he running? And just kneel it.
Or just go down. Your rookie year, you had a situation,
mistake.
And this will show you how long Dawson Knox has been on the field. But your rookie year or your first year in the playoffs, you go down, you get like a 15-yard scamper, right? You're getting pulled down. You tried to Magic Johnson and over here to Dawson Knox, and it goes out of bounds, and you almost got an illegal batting. You put your team in that situation, and then save it. Dan Orlovsky, first of all, you are the biggest loser in the world for stepping out of bounds and getting your team a safety. We're not even going to talk about that. How do you, in your right mind, watch this man on a live? This is live. It's not like you had a time to edit this. You're live on SportsCenter or on First Take, whatever show you're on. You shouldn't be on it, but whatever show you're on, you're watching this live and you're get up, whatever. You better get down because that's what you did your whole life. You laid down. you lost every single game.
Connecticut quarterback.
Awful.
I might have to defend Orlovsky.
You know that's why he's on ESPN.
I think he's
Connecticut quarterback.
I think he's decent, Orlovsky.
How do you watch that play? Watch Josh Allen goes, yeah, he fumbled, but look, the Bills, why didn't you pick up that ball? You're blaming somebody else for the mistake that Josh got them into? Come on, man. Do you also blame your wife for your kids being bad? Like, you're a man. Be a man, man. Blame Josh Allen for why are you fumbling in that situation and not going down. Don't blame his center who got a concussion on that play and had to come out of the game.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Unbelievable.
So Orlovsky was pretty much like defending Josh Allen for fumbling and saying that they should have dived on the fumble?
He, by his Connecticut connections and ESPN connections, is effectively on Josh Allen's PR team's payroll.
Is on air. Okay. First of all, Dan Orlovsky, if he's pretending to be a defender of Josh Allen, I think that some of what Dan does, I think he's a decent talent. I'm not going to hate on people at the four-letter network. But I think that Josh Allen in this contest was very sloppy, and every Bills game comes down to the final possession, so they're not a historically great team.
No, I mean, we could talk all in all about the 5 Super Bowl losses, all that good stuff. Like, yeah,
that was in the past. No, I'm talking about this. I'm talking about this year, Jacksonville.
Yeah, no,
that game came down to the final moments. When you play these low possession type games, things are going to happen.
And a lot of times, guess why they're in these dogfights with teams that they shouldn't be in? Because of the turnovers of Josh Allen.
And they can't really run the football
when it matters.
Final point is that was, I think it's an interception for sure, because guess what? If Cooks went to the ground and he was losing the ball, would be what? Incomplete.
Exactly.
It would be an incomplete pass. He never had control. And it's not the same as the Devontae Adams play where Adams caught
it on the ground. He caught it while in stride.
Adams, remember, he caught, he had the ball 2 real steps within a 5-yard gap.
He's trying to get more yards. It's
not a 40-yard bomb. And it never comes down to one play. Yes, it would have been a Matt Prater field goal, which, by the way, you got a miracle Matt Prater kick. Still couldn't win the game. Let's talk about Seattle. I feel that they are the most disrespected football team in all of the NFL. Seattle. Nobody is giving Seattle that much credit for the season that they've had and their defense. And this is a really historically very good football team.
It is a good defense. It's the lowest points per games that they've been averaging since the Legion of Boom. Pretty much seems like Sam Darnold has a little bit of that. Russell Wilson, can he win the games? Is he not losing the games? Of narrative about him. He also, unfortunate, the injury with the PCL. Is he fully limited? Like, he was playing a high school roster.
Sam Darnold, you mean his orbital or the oblique? Is that what you're talking about?
Oblique, yes.
Oblique.
PCL. I'm thinking of myself. My bad.
That was a real serious
I've been in a lot of PTs this week for my knee, so
he still looked fine. So he threw for 150 yards. He
didn't have to do much.
I just think Seattle is dominant.
Yeah, I think that defense is legit.
Rashid Shaheed.
I definitely respect that defense.
The punt return.
Yeah, I mean, they had a perfect matchup playing a team that they were already familiar with, a banged-up 49ers team. Like, they did what they needed to do. All credit to Seattle. I think that they're on a crash course to meet whoever comes out of the AFC West, obviously. And
we're going to preview that game, which I cannot wait to preview. But the point is with Seattle and Sam Darnold is this was huge. This was his first playoff win. And I guess I won't spoil what I think is the rest of basically our picks. We'll talk about Seattle more historically and can they win games coming up. You guys don't want to miss that here on the Spence and Serg Show. Let's talk about I thought this was very entertaining. We had like 8 turnovers combined between the Texans and the Patriots. I love those cold weather games outside in the snow. I love that it has an advantage. I don't want to go to sterile, modern dome stadiums. Like the fact that these teams are all making dome stadiums, it pisses me off. It's basically becoming like flag football. Like, I hate that. I like old-time football.
Me too.
And we saw C.J. Stroud on national TV crapping his pants throughout an entire half, almost going full-on Jake Delhomme. 4 interceptions in one half.
Yeah, that was like so I saw a statistic out there that if you spike the ball in every single play, you have like a 38.9 QBR rating, something like that. He had like a 26. That means
I'm surprised it wasn't negative.
Right. Like I'm surprised they didn't just delete his stats. That was
wipe it from the hard drive, from the record books. He is a guy that he was throwing the ball in the harm's way. Very loose with the football. I still think he's a talent, but it was also poor play calling. I still believe in Stroud being a good quarterback over time. Or do you think that he is never going to really reach the standard that he set out for?
So I think it's unfair whenever people create like a narrative or like they put a player in a box and say like they can never, because ultimately we don't know. Does CJ Stroud take this and get motivated by this and then just decide, you know what, I'm never going to be that version of myself again? Is it a problem with his offensive coordinating in Nick Caley? Is it a problem in his system? Maybe the fact that he didn't have Nico Collins. But then I'm going to push back on, and I'm going to say that, does he have it in him to get better than this? Time will tell. I actually don't know, to be honest with you. And I think that says a lot more about CJ Stroud than his actual play. The fact that people aren't sure if he has it in him to get better because that was an all-time, like every pass was over their heads,
Meltdown.
bouncing on the ground. Yeah, like sure, some of them were unfair to be like the bobbled interception, the one where he like almost fumbled it and it was caught seemingly forever in the air, landed in the player's hand. Like he made the play, but like there's something to be said about the fact that you already showed the week before when you didn't have to do anything. You really didn't have to do anything against the Steelers.
Pittsburgh.
You had 5 fumbles?
But he wants to show something. He doesn't just want to be a bus rider.
I hope.
And listen, the Houston Texans, I got to give credit to them. They always are making the playoffs. They're always in the second round. So they're not a poverty franchise.
I mean, they don't have any. I mean, they're also one of the newest franchises in the NFL. So,
But the last couple of years with D'Amico, they still won 8 straight games with C.J. Stroud.
But they overachieved those years. This year was different. We thought they were for real because that defense was looking really, really good.
The defense was legit,
especially at the end of the game. At the end of the year, C.J. Stroud, like against the Chargers, every other pass was a touchdown. Remember the first play of the game, bomb. Second time they got the ball back, he threw another bomb. He shows flash.
He does, and he doesn't have Tank Dell.
No.
This guy has a big arm. He was clutch, even in the college football playoff, even in the Rose Bowl. He throws one of the prettiest deep balls, and he can layer the deep ball in there. Now, as a runner, he can't really create off schedule.
No, he can't.
But he's still tall. He still, to me, is a franchise quarterback. Because you don't want, look at what the Houston Texans had before. They had Deshaun Watson, and then they needed to pivot to C.J. Stroud. Look at all these other organizations, the Jets, the Giants, the Browns. They don't have a Stroud.
You're right, but...
And you don't want to go into quarterback purgatory.
Look, you're right, and again, different staffs, but let's not forget, we watched T.J. Yates win a playoff game.
T.J. Yates and Brocky Osweiler.
We watched some bad quarterback play or bad named quarterback play in Houston win games. Like that seems to be their MO as a franchise. I don't know if it's got
the Yates of hell.
Yeah. So my point is that like anybody can be a flash in the pan. C.J. Stroud, I'm starting to question because of
he's been
the way that game went.
Sustainably decent,
but look, this happens to NFL quarterbacks. I'm not saying it'll happen to Stroud because I think the jury's still out on him. I think that he's shown enough where I got to trust that he's going to get back to the player that he is, but he's been chasing that rookie year success since it happened. But this happens to NFL quarterbacks when they make it to a playoffs, like a Goff with the Rams, they get written off, and maybe they just need a better change of environment. Maybe they need a better supporting class.
Are you saying he's going to go the route of Bortles?
I don't know. Maybe. I'm just saying it happens, so just be
I just
wary
think
about
his mechanics are too good. 6'5", good arm, gets the ball out of his hands quickly. He has the athleticism, and he has the mechanics that I really like. I'm taking Stroud still over Bryce Young.
No, I think I'm taking Bryce Young after what he's shown.
You are going to take Young. Okay, so we can disagree with that. Because Bryce Young was clutcher, but Bryce Young's also 5'9", 5'10".
But that makes it harder.
He's smaller.
But that's the point.
I'm taking the steadier option of Stroud, even though he was very unsteady in New England.
Yeah, but the game isn't played in shorts. I don't care what my quarterback looks like. Can he make these throws?
Bryce Young was 8-9.
8-9.
Stroud was 11-5.
But similar stories where they won a bunch of games in a row.
Bryce Young doesn't have Ted to McMillan.
No,
Who's had a better career? Bryce Young was going to get.
It's been 2 years
out of the league.
Look, the jury's still out by both of them.
I like Stroud. I'm a Stroud believer.
All I'm saying is
I'll go down with the shit.
All I'm saying is you're going to have to pay Stroud before you're going to have to pay Bryce Young, and it's a lot of these other quarterbacks. And I just think that you won games with Davis Mills. You've won in the past with Yates. You've won off of just running and defense. Can you get a quarterback that you know for a fact, hey, he might not have the highest upside like a Kirk Cousins when he was on Washington or
Davis Mills, maybe? Davis real cheap?
Maybe just keep him. Yeah, who knows? I would just be
worried. It's a great question. Can Stroud ever ascend?
That's the worry.
And I don't think that there's a huge difference between Stroud's strengths and Bo Nix, but his decision-making, the coaching is horrible there.
I don't know.
I think Nick Caley is really on the hot seat. You've got to develop Jaden Higgins. You have Noel. You have all these high rookie receivers. Tank Dell's injured.
You got to keep hitting in the
Nico
draft.
Collins.
How long can you keep having that success when you're making playoffs?
Schultz. Last game, Chicago. versus the Rams. A defensive slugfest, very entertaining football game. I thought Dennis Allen, and Sean McVay even admitted this. He admitted that Dennis Allen schemed circles around him in Chicago. I'll ask you, do you think it was a more impressive win by the Rams, or do you think that Chicago just didn't have enough in them to pull that out?
I think it says more about Chicago because the home team's always going to get like a 3-point line, right? Whenever they're setting those lines.
Especially if it's freezing.
Especially if it's freezing. Like Matthew Stafford was wearing a scuba suit in that game. He literally said before the game, I had to cut a scuba suit. Like a West Coast team coming to play you in your house, your home field, like, yeah, it's impressive for the Rams to win, but it's not like the Rams just went out there and dominated that game.
They played horrible.
Yeah.
Puka Nacua played terrible. Matt Stafford, but a lot I'll give credit to the Bears defense.
It came down to decision making, like it always does. We watched some awful. Every single quarterback out, I'd say outside of Bo Nix, he had an unfortunate interception. If you take away that, even though the inefficiency that they were having it at times, I still think overall,
every quarterback
the Broncos looked much better than every other team in terms of sustained success. Can you replicate that kind of success?
I don't know. Their offense went in the crap.
And their defense did also start leaking at the end, but maybe they were playing more conservative. Who knows? We can give them the benefit of the doubt. You know what we can't give the benefit of the doubt for? Is what would have happened if Caleb Williams didn't throw that ball short. If he had
DJ Moore in overtime.
If he ran or lived to play another game, it was first down.
Yeah,
just outside of field goal range. That decision making is what wins and loses games. It's similar to what we were just saying right here. Why Philadelphia is so successful isn't always because their quarterback has to win them the game. A lot of times you just don't got to lose it because any game that you play in, chess is the biggest proponent, but any game that you play, you want your opponent to make mistakes for you. Who wants a harder...
I'll argue on behalf of Caleb Williams. The interception in overtime, it was very disappointing, but the Chicago Bears team is not a talented team like the Houston Texans that have an unbelievable defense. Like I have an unbelievable defense. And the throw he made, because sometimes the magic of Caleb is he is kind of that gunslinger. And you don't want to take that out of him. And that magic of throwing 40 yards back to Cole Kmet was incredible.
It was amazing. That was an amazing play. I got to watch that game, that throw from like 9 million different angles. I got to watch it in a YouTube vlog that somebody made where it was just
you were just living in that throw.
Yeah, it's not that the throw was even that great because the defender could have just backed up.
The defender made a very.
It's just the fact that the play was made.
It was the moment. It was the moment. Caleb is a diehard competitor in that moment.
I do love that about it.
Yes, he's a competitor. He doesn't quit on these plays. He makes the unbelievable play like Brett Favre. He makes the play why you watch football is because of what Caleb Williams can do. However, their offense is just not consistent. They weren't able to run the football. In that moment, he needed to be more secure. I actually agreed. I want to get your opinion on this. I agreed with kicking the field goal and going to extras. Would you have tried to end it by going for 2?
No, I would have too, because everything went exactly the way you wanted to.
You would have won for 2, or you how overtime?
I'm a big proponent of make them lose. Make the other team lose. Don't give them an easy win. You know what I mean?
Agree with you.
So the whole situation with Caleb Williams, like we would be talking about Caleb Williams amongst the all-time great playoff performances in the past 2 weeks had they won that game.
If they went down and Pinheiro kicked a field goal.
Maybe.
Plus, he made a great play on 4th and 1 to maneuver for the first down.
Yeah, but they could have got a touchdown.
But DJ Moore, or it was second. I don't think it was third.
It wasn't third. They had more plays. They had more plays than that.
It was a really poor decision. It was such an unnecessary decision, a great interception. And then you know what unbelievable championship teams do? When Caleb made that mistake, if the Bears were really elite, they would have stopped them.
Yeah.
But no, and credit Matt Stafford on this. 3rd and 7, they go all out blitz 0. Puka Nacua wide open. That was a dagger. Dagger. Let's talk about these conference championships game. First, Serge, do you think that this is entertaining conference championship games, or is it lacking to you?
I think that from the at-home fan, it's probably one of the more entertaining weekends because it's just new teams in there. Like Seattle hasn't been back since they lost to Brady.
Right.
All these different things. But from the diehard fan, it's a shame you have question marks at quarterback for both conference championships in terms of health. One is completely missing their quarterback in the Broncos. The Seattle Seahawks, they have the oblique injury to Sam Darnold. You just don't want to see teams not at 100%. Like, don't get me wrong, everybody's going to be hurt in the playoffs. At some point, no one is 100% this time of the year. But, like, everybody's already been discrediting Drake May because of the schedule, the, like almost unsustainable efficiency he's had, stuff like that. And then he looked human against, obviously, an inhuman defense in the Houston. But, you know, like, you just don't want to give, like, the average hater a reason to discredit your championship. And I just feel like if New England was to win, that's just going to be the narrative.
It would be the schedule.
Yeah.
But even though they can't control it.
No, they can't control it. And ultimately, you got to play who you play against. So, to me, if you're asking my opinion, though, I'm super happy at these games. I actually am very interested to see, like, rise to the occasion, Jarrett Stidham. Bill Belichick picked him to be the successor to Tom Brady. Whether you agree with that or disagree with that, there's something to be said with, here's your chance to prove that, right?
Listen, and
that's exciting.
He's a quarterback that can sit in the pocket. He has very good mechanics, but I even think he has a good arm, and I never understood why Stidham wasn't a solid NFL quarterback. I liked him so much out of Auburn, out of Baylor. Remember, he was a stud that one year with Art Browse. He's out of Stevensville, Texas. He was a 4-star recruit, so I followed Stidham's entire journey.
Yeah.
I think that decision-making, he lacks. He sees the game slowly. He has no mobility. And he also doesn't have that dog in him like Bo Nix.
Maybe he does, though. He just hasn't played enough.
He's such a nice guy, but he's like kind of like content with being a dad at this stage and being a backup. And he's such a chill guy. He's almost too chill.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, though, however many coaches have evaluated him, offensive coordinators, and throughout the years that he's had, like everybody that's ever been involved with him, for one reason or another, he just wasn't the guy.
Doesn't like whether he was with Oakland with Josh McDaniels, because under pressure he's poor and he has trouble getting to his second reads and threading it in to tighten the windows, and he doesn't throw with anticipation.
Yeah.
And he needs that confidence, but no one's ever believed in Jared for a full year of Jared.
Exactly. And
I want Jared to have a full year.
I do too, but also he's kind of like getting that Nick Foles energy where, like, you're playing with house money. They already are counting out the Broncos. You aren't. If they lose, you didn't disappoint anybody.
Let me tell you about the Broncos. You know? They are a historic team. They have last been back here relevantly with Von Miller and who else was on that team? What cornerback were on that
Champ
team?
Bailey,
DeMarcus Ware,
Chris Harris Jr.
Oh yeah, that's why you're here.
T.J. Ward.
Thank you. Demarius might have been on the squad. You also had Eric Decker might have been on that squad as well, who ended up winning a championship. Who was the tight end on that team? Big tight end who was good at Thomas, maybe?
That team, it was. I mean, they had
Owen Daniels, maybe.
They had so many different tight ends, but
the point is, we're getting a rematch.
No, that year it was do you remember the tight end that he ended up going to the
big guy, Larry Donnell?
No, he ended up going to the Jaguars. He had like
Mercedes Lewis?
No, flash in the pan year. I know you know this name.
Someone with J.
Julius Thomas. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Right. Julius Thomas. Yeah.
I knew it was a Thomas.
He had a flash in the pan, great year.
So I love reminiscing on these franchises because before we get to the game, it's not like these franchises have never seen the mountaintop. Yeah. You've had the Seahawks.
We've had this exact same AFC Championship game 2 different times.
Yes, Broncos,
Patriots, when the Broncos beat the Patriots to make it to the Super Bowl.
With Rob Gronkowski. Remember, he made that brilliant catch. And then I'm trying to think of what else they played.
They played in the divisional round the year that Brady went to the Super Bowl.
The year Brady. Yeah. The point is, these franchises are still very successful. And you have programs like the Jets and the Browns and maybe the Jags and the Panthers. And they stay down for a really long time. So these are all teams that have won it and won it pretty recently. So let's hop right into it. Denver is getting, the last I checked, Denver's getting 4.5 versus the Patriots. And Serg, I'll let you talk about this football game. Do you think Denver has a way to win this game? How are you feeling about Denver in this game?
I think that this all predicates on the Jared Stidham situation, but Denver's got that defense.
Yeah.
Like, I will say that what they do well versus what the Houston Texans do well defense is very similar in that they rush the passer. They got good coverage in the back end. They have a bunch of Texas guys on that team. Shout out Texas.
What, who, Jahdae Barron?
Roach, Lil Jordan Humphrey, Jahdae Barron.
Lil Jordan who dropped a little pass that was very meaningful last week.
I know, but he caught a touchdown. And then Brandon Jones, who's on IR right now, and Roach, the defensive tackle. They have a lot of different, just great players on that team in general. Like,
they also have their best player is a player that you actually watched in college and didn't like so much.
Yeah.
And who is that?
You're going to make me say it? You say it. I don't want to
Nicky B. Nick Bonito.
And I was
Nick Bonito, third-round pick.
One of the top tackles in the NFL.
Absolute stud. So who do you got? You got Bonito on one side. You got like Zach Allen, I believe, maybe out of Boston College.
You got Roach in the middle.
Who's the other edge? That is nasty. I'll think of it later. Point is, we got Riley Moss.
They have Greenlaw, too.
Riley Moss gets picked on a lot, and that's going to be a huge matchup in this game is Diggs and Boutte versus Riley Moss. Because you got Pat Surtain, and he's locks. It's a good defense. Vance loves to blitz. It's going to be a lot of man-to-man coverage. What do you think the Broncos are going to do? Are they going to play this kind of, high risk, trying to get turnovers on Drake May? Is that how they're going to play it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're going to basically force them that they air the ball up, and that air's thin. Maybe one reason why that pass didn't get to Josh Allen, that air just floating up there. Yeah.
That air is thin.
Yeah, and we know that they can rush the passer. The real question is going to be, can New England establish the run?
And can they protect? And also,
can they protect a player that takes some of the worst sacks?
I love Will Campbell, but Will Campbell has been in the news, and you don't want to be in the news as an O-lineman. He was getting torched by Will and Daniil Hunter.
Yeah, Will Campbell ate his lunch for a little while.
Do you think Will Campbell will be able to keep Drake upright?
I don't know, because as great as Will Anderson is, Bonino and their other edge rushers are different style edge rushers.
Yeah.
And I just think that that's just going to be really, really tough for them. Ultimately, again, this game doesn't rely on, can they win a game by just maybe Patriots offense collapsing to the defense? Possibly, but Jared Stidham's going to have to make some plays because the New England Patriots have a pretty good defense and a great defensive mind in Vrabel.
And I love how New England, late in that game versus the Texans, I loved how they put the game on ice by running the football.
Oh, yeah.
They had that 7 or 8 minute drive, and that's what I love the most when I think about playoff football is can Stevenson really run the football? That's why I kind of am agreeing with you. I'm leaning New England because Jarrett's going to have to make some big boy throws. And really, I think Jarrett needs to score 24 to win the game.
Yeah. Picking this game was not easy. Even though a lot of people think that, you got to go New England. It's super obvious. They're hopeless without
And where do you think the sharp money is on this game?
Well, the sharp money right now currently is the over-under is 40.5.
The sharp money
is on the over.
But it's also with Denver.
Yeah.
Because the public is all over New England.
The line opened at 5.5, so it has gone down.
The Sharps are banging Denver this week.
They are, because they believe that the public knows nothing. And I think that says something about, what do they know? You know what I mean? Because, again, Jared Stidham limited.
I think it's the pass rushers.
I think so, too. And I really do think that Denver I don't wish injury on anybody, but with the injuries, I think there was a couple moments where McLaughlin got injured, had to go into the tent last week, but they were forced to give R.J. Harvey the ball more. And I just think that that's your best runner. You should be giving him the ball all the time.
R.J. Harvey?
Yeah, R.J. Harvey. I had him in fantasy. He should be your 3-down runner. Believe it or not, he's really, really good at catching out of the backfield. He can run between the tackles. He's a little undersized.
He's
but
very undersized.
UCF,
That's a problem.
I think that he's a good running back.
I love R.J. Harvey too.
I think that they have a lot of weapons. I don't know. We'll see who's injured, who's going to be available for them. Pat Bryant got hurt in that game.
How about Franklin?
Yeah.
They got to get these guys back. Bryant's a stud out of Illinois, and then Troy played with Bo Nix, and now Bo Nix is not going to be there. Bo Nix will be up there. 26-21, Patriots survive and win. I'm taking New England. What about you, Serg?
Well, I was waiting to give my answer because very unpopular opinion, but I like 30-27 Denver.
Denver! Sir, you believe in Stiddy.
I don't. It's not
Steady Cent.
It's not Steady Cent. It's, for whatever reason, I have vivid memories of Drew Brees giving Tom Brady some butt whoopings in the regular season, and the offensive mind that was doing that was Sean Payton. And I think that Sean Payton is a much more battle-tested coach than Vrabel. Vrabel is a defensive mind. McDaniels is great, but can Drake May do that under pressure?
But who's going to be executing those Sean Payton-like plays? Stidham.
Possibly.
So why aren't you giving Stidham credit?
I'm not yet. I don't know yet. We'll see. Right now, he hasn't given me a reason to give him credit.
He's penciling in Denver.
I do have Denver winning. I think Denver's going to make
that would be a big-time upset. I'm going to take New England. I kind of hope that he's right, though. It would make for interesting Super Bowl time.
Hey, I wouldn't be a real Eagles fan if I didn't believe that they could do what we did with a backup quarterback. Granted, Nick Foles has also shown it being in the NFL record books, most touchdowns thrown
27-2.
Yeah.
Rams head to Seattle to play the Seattle Seahawks and the Legion of Boom up there at Lumen Field in Seattle, Washington. I think that this Seahawks team has just been tremendous all year. Do you think that the Rams here can compete? These teams have seen each other 3 times. What say you about this contest?
So I love that you introduced them as the Legion of Boom, because you know what they call them this year? They call them the Legion of Doom. That's what they call them. It's actually really funny. But they're leaning into it. I love it. I love that 12th man over there in Seattle. And, you know, for those of you at home, we might have to start a little sidebar in the comments over here about him and his, like, Washington fetish up there. But that whole area, like that Oregon, Washington corridor, you love those teams.
I'm a little, kind of grungy.
No, I like them. I like the
spongy and grungy.
Yeah, they are. A little like smelly, a little like dreary. It's gonna get a lot of rain. They're always ordering out to eat. Yep. But so I think that Seattle, you know, great story. Sam Darnold pretty much was back where he was a year ago, #1 seed. But this time, a little bit of a better situation around him with that defense. Seattle, he didn't need to do so much against the 49ers, so we don't know the extent of that oblique injury and, like, will it hamper him when he goes up against the Rams? Remember, the Rams, for what you got to say about Caleb Williams, no slouch quarterback. Like, there were talks about him about possibly being on an all-time great run. I know we said it in the last segment. They win that game. We're now, we got to talk about Caleb Williams in the same breath as, like, Josh Allen. Yeah. Like, actually, probably more successfully in less time than Josh Allen.
Absolutely.
Right.
But Sam last year was with Minnesota.
Yeah.
They didn't even win the division. They went out to that stupid Arizona game because of the wildfires, and they got plastered, and he's never won a playoff game before.
No, he hasn't, unfortunately. But that's why this one, some could discredit him.
And guess what? He has the team with him.
Yes. He absolutely does, and that's why it's a showing. You know what I mean? He didn't have to do too much, although he did enough last week to win that game big.
That's why I would love to see a quarterback of Darnold's ilk win big in these moments.
Well, that's your opinion. I'm not going to share mine until the end, but
okay.
However, I think that this game's going to be won and lost based on, can Matt Stafford decipher that Seattle defense? And it's not like he hasn't in the past. If you remember, both of their last games, the one that they won, they held on to that lead that they had. Then the second time, they lost a big lead. So what we know about Sean McVay is he has answers to this defense. It might not be for a full 60 minutes, but he has answers against that defense. But now, does Mike McDonald and that defense, do they have an answer that they've been hiding up their sleeve?
And that's what I think could happen, because just because you played them in the regular season doesn't mean it's the same team.
It does not.
I think Seattle's ascending, and I look at these Rams, and what have the Rams done? They went to Carolina. They almost lost to those jokers out there. They almost lost to the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
And then they almost lost to the Chicago Bears, an inexperienced, overachieving team with Ben Johnson. And I view this Seahawks team as a tremendous football team. They are my pick to win the Super Bowl. So I am just flat out being honest. I think it's Seattle's time. I think they are by far the best team in this field. And I don't see the Rams being able to compete. If this was a one-score game in the fourth, I'd be very worried if I were a Seattle fan. Because your method to beat them is to blow those dudes out.
I agree.
Because then if you allow Stafford and Nakua, I think really the big box score stat will be Puka Nakua and Matt Stafford.
I agree. So my prediction for this game is I have to lean into a little bit of kind of like what's going to happen first, right? That immovable object versus like that like unstoppable force. Right now, the Seattle Seahawks are 9-0 at home whenever they play all season. They have a 3-0 playoff. Rams have a 3-0 playoff road streak. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Hold on. Well, they lost to the Eagles.
Right, but we're talking about this would be 3-0 if they win this game.
Oh, on the road. They must beat someone in the regular season on the road.
But I'm saying they won both of their games on the road in the playoffs, right? This would make it 3-0, so somebody's has got to go in this game. Now, where I think that this game's going to lie in, again, Stafford versus that defense, is Sam Darnold 100%. Really, can the Rams make Sam Darnold win that game? If the Rams can make Sam Darnold win that game, and actually, I think that there's an injury in this that's being lost in the injury to Charbonnet out for the season.
Zach.
I think that that's a addition by subtraction. I'm so sorry for Charbonnet. That's very unfortunate. I do not wish injury for this. But one thing that I've been holding on, and it's not just because I'm a K9 owner in fantasy, but like, dude, sometimes you gotta just keep one guy in and get a rhythm. And Walker, what happened? He had the best game of his career, right? Sure, we can say what we want about field position and all that stuff. Maybe it made it easier for him to score against a depleted Niners, but that's the best game he hasn't had 3 touchdowns in a game since his rookie year.
Maybe they've been saving him.
Maybe, but no. I mean, they had to play him now because Charbonnet got hurt.
The thing about Zach Charbonnet is that Charbonnet will run in a more consistent manner than Walker. Walker can get a little fancy, a little outside the tackle.
So I disagree. Actually, I think that Charbonnet, and the reason, I think
Charbonnet's the battering ram back.
That's what they use him for, but if you look at their ideals of how they run, Charbonnet in the game, he injured himself because he could have just kept going to the outside and he ran right into somebody. I hate to say it, man, but I think that K9 is your typical north to south bowling ball that you'll say. And if you watch that game that against 49ers, he was running through holes decisively and continuing his run. Charbonnet down the goal line gets opportunistic touchdowns.
So the Rams.
So I think that this is a benefit for the Seattle Seahawks, but my pick for this game is I think the game's going to be 31-27 Rams.
The Rams.
I think
you've
that
had the Rams
Matthew
going
Stafford,
to the bowl for a while.
Yeah, I think that it's going to come down. It's going to be 24-27. We're going to be looking at that game. Here's my prediction. It's not saying that it's going to happen this way, right? But I have a feeling that Sam Darnold with an oblique is going to be tested in that game. He's going to have to make something happen because, again, you only have one running back, so you can't even, change the looks. You know what I mean? With Charbonnet, even though they're still running it, they're both very capable runners. So, you could run it either time you're doing that play action because that's where his success lies in. Now, with Kenneth Walker in the whole game, you're going to be able to notice him when he's tired. You're going to be able to notice his tells whenever he's going to be in pass pro or not. That's why Saquon Barkley's tell thing came out right before the Super Bowl, that he scans whenever it's a pass pro and he looks for it whenever it's a run. Those type of things matter in a game, and I think that it's going to come down to Rams have the ball last 24-27 going to tie the game, but they win it.
If it's a close game, then the Seahawks prediction's in trouble, but I think it could be more like last week. I just think that this team is better than all the other teams. I love their defensive personnel. I think they're going to get after Matthew Stafford. They'll be able to run it. They'll be able to create turnovers. I don't see the Rams having success. If it's a close game, I'm completely with you. Then it gets real scary for Sam Darnold because he's not Matt Stafford. But I think the Seahawks are just 20 points better. I think they're going to wow people in this spot.
We'll see.
So I'm going to take 31-14 Seattle. So I'm going with a pretty big margin.
Okay.
Sean McDermott fired from the Buffalo Bills. Terry Pagula dropping some Keon Coleman dirt in that press conference. You saw that? What do you think, Serge? Was this the right time? Should Sean still have a job? Are the Bills crazy? Will the Bills struggle now that Sean McDermott is no longer there? This is obviously a risk. What do you think about the firing in Buffalo?
Well, I was shocked, but not surprised. You know what I mean? Like, any coach is liable. So many other coaches. There's an NFL record 10 coaches that are being fired, like looking for new teams nowadays. But I think that this was just really like Brandon Beane or McDermott. I think that this came down to Brandon Beane making a power move. Yeah. Where he just got in front of this and tried to save his job. He even tried to blame that whole, like what you mentioned, like got Pegula to talk about that Coleman wasn't even like the correct pick to them. But then there's videos of like when they watch Coleman run a slow 40 and them saying, oh, wait, what did he run? They're like, oh, great. It'll only make it easier for him to get us. That's Brandon Beane who said that. That's Brandon Beane who said that. And then the same thing, Brandon Beane playing coy and not knowing, I had no idea that Darius Slay had only intentions to play for one team when we got him through the waiver. So you're telling me
that's a mistake.
That's a terrible mistake. But you're telling me you didn't reach out to like a guy that you're bringing in. It's like they said on one of the shows, and they asked McDermott about it, and McDermott like did the right thing and said that's a question for Brandon Beane. But they asked them, they're like captives on a ship. Like, do you really want somebody that's being held against their will to come play for your team? We had this conversation when it happened, and I said about the quarterback over in Demond Williams. I said to them, I was like, why do you want a guy there that doesn't want to be there? Like, that's just a culture issue, and I think the Bills have a big problem in their front office and their offices. Culture issue. What it takes to win a game, I don't think that they're set up to win big in the front office.
Because they blame, Terry Pegula is still blaming that Brandon Cooks play in the press conference. But I kind of like the owner actually like getting out and just being really honest. Like, even if it comes across really poorly, like I enjoy that from a media standpoint or just hearing about it. But Brandon Beane's done some decent things. He drafted Star Latualele. He's drafted the big
Cole
boy
Bishop.
from Cole Bishop. He's a stud.
Drafted Josh Allen.
What about the kid from Kentucky, who's a real big defensive lineman? Do you know what I'm talking about? He stuffed the Eagles several times, like Delone Walker or something, I want to say. Okay. He's led a pretty successful run. And also, Sean McDermott's defense gave up the game to Bo Nix, gave up the 13 seconds. Their defense isn't that airtight. The point is, eventually time wears on. It's almost like John Harbaugh with the Baltimore Ravens. So I'm in favor of the move, because how many times are you going to do the same thing over and over?
Yeah, I think that McDermott just wasted his like get out of jail free cards, or like his like lives.
I think that McDermott did a great job, but guess what?
He did good with what he had.
He's a good coach,
for one reason or another, they came up short. I agree that
it's Philly and Andy Reid. Like, you wish him the best.
Yeah, wish you the best. We got to move on for the sake of the like team. Eventually, you're going to create a culture where it's like, I'm going to keep rewarding you with a new contract despite no success.
Why are Bills fans absolutely up in arms? Maybe they are because of Brandon Beane. Maybe they don't like it.
I think that's exactly why it is. Because again, I think that Brandon Beane went to his owner pleading for his job, and his owner just heard him first while angry and was like, yeah, you know what? You're right. Why? Like, you brought in Josh Allen.
I think the owner was going to fire McDermott regardless.
Right, but
the owner came up with this story of how everyone was crying in the locker room. Well, Brandon Beane was already the GM.
But he promoted him to like president of football operations.
I think Beane's decent.
But he doesn't deserve a raise. Well,
I'm a Brandon
Beane
Beane
Pro
guy.
Bowler that he drafted outside of Josh Allen and James Cook.
Well, I was going to say James Cook.
That's it.
Well, Khalil Shakir, Shavers, Matt Prater.
None of them are good, like, long-standing stars. He drafted Kean Coleman.
Tre'Davious White,
who had the game
is still there.
Losing
Poyer, like
Poyer's not playing.
But all
he's old
these
now
are great. These are great secondary.
And Poyer, he didn't draft him.
Milano, Edmonds.
Okay, where is Edmonds right now?
These are good football players. Motor Singletary. These are good draft picks. Stephon Diggs. The trade for Stephon Diggs was a good trade.
I mean, what's Stephon Diggs done since then? Only made the playoffs every single year and now playing in an AFC Championship game.
But Brandon Beane made that move. So I'm a Brandon Beane guy. So I think that this is going to work out great for Buffalo.
I think
they will be going to the Super Bowl very soon.
They will never be going to the Super Bowl, unfortunately.
Brandon Beane will be up there on a float.
So long as Brandon Beane, mark this in date and time right now, so long as Brandon Beane is involved in that organization, they will never win a Super Bowl.
Brandon Beane.
They went to 5 straight without Brandon Beane.
He's a good old country boy.
They're a cursed franchise.
Which isn't Brandon's fault.
And it's not his fault, but he's aiding to it. Could have just not drafted Keon Coleman, drafted a better wide receiver, or could have drafted a bunch better in a lot of different positions. I'm not saying that they're like the worst players, but they're the same players that if you're going to discredit Sean McDermott for giving up 34 points with 4 turnovers from your quarterback, right? 3, we'll say, before that field goal. I don't count that as like leading to points, you know what I mean? But your quarterback gave up the fumble at the end of the half. The interception.
I agree, but I'm also excited to see another defensive coordinator with this staff. But this conversation will go on soon.
We'll see.
The bedrock of this show is colegio football, is college football. And the Indiana Hoosiers, 16-0. Serg, I never thought that a team in this in this iteration of college football could ever be an undefeated 16-0.
College football. You gotta love it, man. Gotta love it. What a great national championship game. That was awesome.
Can you give me some Lou Holtz? Or
that game was awesome.
Do you have Lou Holtz in you?
Let me try. That game was awesome, man. Nah, I don't think I got Lou Holtz.
You started it pretty good.
Anyway, I did start it good, but then I lost it. But I gotta practice.
It was just tremendous what they were able to do against the Miami Hurricanes. So the game was really close.
The game was really close.
The game was actually really good.
It was exactly what we thought it was going to be. Shame on you, linesmen's giving them an 8-point. Like, that was so many points you were giving Indiana. Have some respect for the Miami Dolphins. It was played in Miami Dolphins Stadium, but have some respect for the Hurricanes. Have some respect for Michael Irving and whipping that Gatorade cooler. Yeah. Put some respect on that belt.
And that belt, yeah.
Anyway, this was the pinnacle of underdog magic. Like, first of all, the story about the Indiana Hoosiers, the whole Signetti thing, culminating in that grandiose, like, that couldn't have been more of a storybook ending. And for all of you Friday Night Light fans, don't tell me you didn't see a little bit of Mendoza from looking back at that film. That run that Mendoza has.
What do you mean, Friday Night Lights, the movie?
If you watch Friday Night,
the TV show or the movie?
No, the movie. If you're watching the movie,
I like the TV show better.
I mean, I like both. I watch either one, but at the end of that game, just like at the end of Friday Night Lights, he's reaching for the goal line. The only difference is Mendoza, got it.
What happened in Friday Night Lights, the movie?
He came up short.
With Billy Bob?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. It's not like Matt Saracen.
They lost.
How about Matt Saracen?
Matt Saracen's from the show. The show has its own.
Saracen narrative. Also reached the cross. It reminded me of Elway, the helicopter.
Yeah, it did kind of, except for that was just like and I saw somewhere online, one of the greatest videos, if you ever happen to find it online, if our producer can find it for you, maybe he'll link it, but if you don't, do some research for it. Somebody made an edit by Fernando, by ABBA, right? And in the song, it says, there was something in the air tonight. And it's Fernando reaching over going airport. It was so awesome. And it just shows, like, what a perfect story. You'll go to Cal. The person that almost ends your season from an injury standpoint was the same person that couldn't deny you on the goal line. The same player.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was the game where I stayed up late, where Cam Ward hit Xavier Restrepo, the comeback.
Yeah.
I remember that in Cal.
Mendoza got
couldn't
murdered
beat Cam Ward.
game, right?
He couldn't beat Cam Ward.
He couldn't beat him.
And the same school that rejected him from Christopher Columbus High School
couldn't take him as a walk-on.
Our boy Mario Cristobal. Right?
They finally got revenge. He's from Miami. The game's in Miami.
They passed on him.
What more could you want?
D'Angelo Pons from Miami too.
Man, that was
tremendous.
That was special.
The 4th and 5. I'm like, what are you doing? Calling the timeout, and then they decide to go for it. Just magical. let's give credit to Miami. I actually thought Indiana was going to absolutely destroy this Miami team. So I'll give you credit that you believed in the Canes. It was 10-0. They tried the field goal at half. Really, the game changed when Mark Fletcher popped that run. He popped it along the right-hand side 60 yards. I thought Indiana in this game played their B to B- game.
Yeah, I still don't think it was their best game.
I don't think it was their best. Surratt dropped that pass.
There were so many blown calls in that game where Miami was getting away with murder. How about the late hit on Mendoza on the read option?
Tons of holds throughout.
Oh my God.
But also Surratt drops the pass. They also have the false start.
Yeah, it almost seemed like that was like a movie type thing where like they kind of kept them in it. You got the second down.
Third
you
and
got
17.
a perfect situation to clock out the game because you can waste more time with it after you get the first down.
I thought Carson Beck balled out. I thought he hit Tony. I thought that he really balled out. Shannon Dawson was cooking in that game in the second half. They had Indiana on their heels. They outgained Indiana. Tony was that good. The Miami defense was right there, and they had an opportunity to go out there and win the game. I thought that the difference was Charlie Becker, Charlie football. The way he contorts his body to catch those back shoulders. How hard is that? You have to be so flexible probably to catch the ball and land on your backside without hurting yourself.
Charlie Becker seems to play like a combination of like Randy Moss, Jerry Rice when you need him to. Like it's actually amazing how many great plays that guy's made. But it also goes to show you the camaraderie and like the continuity that him and Mendoza have. Like those are timing, practice, like almost like backyard plays. Like they were amazing, but they lived and died off of we're gonna win. Like what we do right, we're gonna continue doing what we know how to do here. We're gonna play our game. They didn't try to like reinvent the wheel here. They even ran the ball on like 3rd and long just to knowing that they're gonna go for it on 4th down. Like they played such a perfect, I would say, in the moments when it mattered.
Offense.
Well, just all like
I love
all
how
three
they stay
phases.
Connected to running the football. They don't put Mendoza throwing it 30
They
times.
play the best way to play football, which is make the other team beat you. Make them earn that win. When the game got tough, they put the ball in the hands of the player who matters the most, Mendoza, make the right decision. Whether it be a good play or that run at the end of the game.
Except 3rd and 5, you have a chance to win it, and they call a draw play. That allows Miami to remember to have the football back at the end.
That is true.
I didn't like that play. I thought they were even going to go for the win.
I thought that they were. Signetti even said himself, he was like, it took a little while for us to decide whether
to kick a field goal.
Yeah, kick that field goal. And also, they were also in a different situation because of the way they managed the clock on that touchdown drive. They were down to 1 timeout, so like you don't really have a lot of weight because Signetti really loves to like. He doesn't care. This is back to what we were saying about, like, doesn't matter if the other team knows what you're going to do. They still got to beat them. Like, you still got to stop what the other team does. Signetti is such an old school coach where he'd rather make sure my team is on the perfect page. I will burn a timeout on 4th down, right? Yeah. Just so that way we can make sure that we have the right play call in to convert this. Because he went for the jugular on those 4th downs.
He did.
He knew Miami is very explosive, which we all knew that, right? But what did it come down to, which is exactly what everybody hopes it comes down to, is you want the game won where they got to beat you. Carson Beck, he waited and called that last timeout.
That's what I was going to say.
1st down.
Brilliant timeout.
Brilliant.
To settle everybody down.
They were coming out and called a timeout and said, let's just trick them. He said, let's get him.
And what was it? Was it cover 2?
Yeah, so what he did was he had a single high. Well, it wasn't single high safety. It was 2 high. But he had the safety shifted over a little bit on the hash. So that way Carson Beck had a pre-snap read to think, all right, this is going to be one-on-one with single high safety. So he threw the ball thinking, I'm going to get one-on-one single high safety. The difference was they ran a cover 2. They did a little bit of like a roll
Where was
coverage.
the safety?
Safety was
all the way on the other side or in the middle?
I mean, to be quite frank with you, he was still over a little bit onto the boundary, but the way that you know about it is you go hash to hash, and he was inside of that hash. So in college, the hashes are really, really wide. Yes. So the idea, smaller ball, everything like that, you can fit that in college. And you only need 1 foot in bounds, so you have way more wiggle room. So when he saw that safety, his pre-snap reads, he already predetermined it. He didn't even bother going through his progression. He just saw what he wanted to see, which is what Signetti knew about him, right? They scouted.
Planted the trap.
Planted the trap.
Planted the trap.
Great
Signetti,
play.
for being an older guy, he is sometimes these coaches that win a lot, that are older, they get used to their way of how things are executed, but he's very forward-thinking and analytical. And he'll go for it on those fourth downs.
Oh, yeah.
And he is not stubborn. He will trust his defensive and offensive coordinators, and they run the ball physically. They are a physical football team. I'm really happy Indiana won, because if Indiana lost, there would always be that caveat. It's a great story, but they didn't finish the job. They would be like the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
And now for Sig to finally win, it truly shows that right now he's up there with Kirby as being the best coach in college football. It cements him as a college football Hall of Famer. He would have been anyway. But the fact is, Serge, Mendoza is magic. And the point is with Indiana is it's so hard to win a national championship. I think the over-under for Sig at Indiana, if he coaches there another 7 years, is maybe one more natty. So I think this was critical for them to win. I like Miami, but I was very relieved that Indiana completed this whole job because their team was the best football team all year.
Yeah, I believe that they proved it. You know, and it's funny that we all look back at this in the undefeated season, all predicated on a toe. A toe by Omar Cooper against Penn State.
Penn State.
Crazy that was their toughest battle all year.
Or Iowa.
Absolutely, both games, but
it's because Penn State, too, like the lines of scrimmages of Miami were just even better than Oregon.
Yeah.
And that's something that's very interesting to think about, is that Oregon was very far away.
Yeah, ultimately it's actually, that's the broader aspect of this. Ultimately what this showed is that like that Cignetti bravado, it proved, you know, that like screw the doubters, screw the haters. He built via the portal. The Mendoza transfer, all the JMU guys being holdovers, basically just showed you the new way that you can win in any program if you just commit, find the right guys, your guys. Sure, they're not the biggest flashy guys. What, they have 4 stars on the team, 0 5 stars. It just goes to show you that those star ratings, Nick Saban said it best. Damian Harris was a 5-star, but Josh Jacobs was a 0-star. Damian Harris is out of the league, and Josh Jacobs is now.
Did he? I don't know if Saban said
no,
that.
He did say that. He said that during the
that's a shade at Damian Harris.
It is.
He has a tight relationship.
It is, but he was saying that, like, I mean, he won with Damian Harris. He won games with all those guys.
Josh Jacobs had a remarkable story from Tulsa. I think he was homeless. And
he was.
The point is, though, is I think you still need talent, but it's great for the group of 5 because if you're a stud player at group of 5 or FCS,
you have a future.
You're going to have big-time future and big monetary future of the game.
If you ball, they will call.
They will find you. And really, it's the continuity, though, of this team. Like, I heard someone say it best. I like David Pollack, and he said that Indiana's going to, quote-unquote, have more talent. Like, they're getting Nick Martian from Michigan State. They have money now with Cuban to spend, Hoover. This was a team. So even though they might have guys that have more flexibility, more wiggle to them, they'll have talented wide receivers. The way that this group clicked on offense, the way they understood the schemes, it's going to be so hard to find another team like this.
It's going to be
That's
really
why I'm
hard.
so happy Indiana won. They were the best team all
It's
year.
hard, but I believe that Cignetti can sustain success, and it's shown with, we loved Josh Hoover at TCU. We thought that his roster and coaching staff kind of held him down. We don't deny his talent. But it's something to be said about you're going after Hoover versus look at Miami going after Duke's quarterback. Look at people trying to poach Arch. Look at everybody trying to, like, all the different quarterback conversations.
Sam Levitt.
Deuce Knight.
I never thought Mendoza would be this great. I thought of him at Cal. It's like, I think he's okay.
Yeah, I think that everybody.
I looked at his arm and I was like, he's fine.
Yep, and now he's on his way to becoming the consensus
and he grew. He's stronger now, and now I see him as being like a solid NFL quarterback. Yeah, really, like Jared Goffian mobile quarterback.
Yeah, I think that he's got the work ethic. He said it himself. He doesn't have time for girls. He lives within a 3-minute walk of.
He said he would die for that.
I'm not going to give
touchdown.
I'm not going to give a sound bite
of that.
Repeat what he said
of that exact of describing it.
Remember, he said, yeah.
He said that he said that he would get hit in multiple areas.
Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Yeah,
I know.
But
I knew you'd be on that.
Congratulations, Indiana Hoosiers. Congratulations, Miami, also for bringing the U back. Quest for 6.
We might need that Sports Illustrated Mendoza picture. I just love it. What a storybook ending. College football, guys. Fun year. And Spence and Serg, we got in at the back part of this year. I'm so excited for 2026.
Yeah, this is not going to be all for us in college football, so stay tuned.
Oh, yeah.
It's not over. It's
No
a
off
year-long
season
thing.
here. No
There's
off season.
No
Let's
off
go.
season.
Spence and Serg.